It's Wednesday, June 6th. Welcome to your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including the search for a voyeurism suspect in Stamford, a town budget getting voted down again, and much more. Frank Nito will have your forecast and your Nutmeg Sports update later on, and Donna Lang will join us to take a look back on this day in history. But first, Hearst, Connecticut media reports that a 46-year-old woman was killed in a crash on the Merritt Parkway in Norwalk on Tuesday night. Now, state police say that driver, Hong Ying Tian of Avon, was ejected from her 2015 Volkswagen Passat. Now, troopers say Tian was traveling at a high rate of speed before that crash. Now, this happened just before 10 p.m. near southbound exit 40B in Norwalk. Two other vehicles were struck by flying debris from that crash. Now, in front of Tian's vehicle was a 2012 Infiniti driven by Tyler Batala, 21 years old, of Bedford, New York. Now, the force of impact dislodged the Passat's engine, causing it to catch fire. Batala's Infiniti was struck by flying debris from that accident and sustained severe damage and needed to be towed. Batala, however, escaped injury. Now, another vehicle driven by 44-year-old Ryan Pila of New York City, traveling northbound, was also hit by flying debris, causing some minor damage, but again, no serious injuries in that vehicle. And in other news, Stamford police are looking for help identifying a voyeurism suspect. Now, they released some surveillance video of that man. Now, this happened back on May 9th at 2:20 in the afternoon. They say a Hispanic man used a phone to take photos under the dress of a female while both were shopping at Modell's Sporting Goods on Summer Street in the Ridgeway Shopping Center. Now, Stamford police are asking anyone, if you recognize this suspect, to please contact them at 203-977-4417. And in other news, a man and a juvenile were arrested on weapons charges in Waterbury following a pursuit by Newtown and Bridgeport police. Now, on June 4th at 6:45 in the evening, state troopers were notified that Bridgeport police and Newtown police were in pursuit of a white 2014 Honda Accord. Now, police lost sight of that Accord in Newtown at approximately 7:20 p.m. That Honda Accord was located by troopers on I-84 eastbound near exit 14. The operator of that Honda engaged troopers in pursuit near exit 17 before entering the Route 8 South in Waterbury. Now, state troopers lost sight of the Honda at the Route 8 junction until it crashed on Charles Street off of Route 8 southbound. Now, the vehicle's occupants fled prior to state police arrival, but a short time later, those two suspects were located in the area by state police, Waterbury police, and the state police canine Ale. Now, one suspect, later identified as Kenneth Jones, allegedly ran to a neighboring home to evade police. They say Jones kicked in the door, ran inside, and attempted to hide from police while people were inside the home. Now, police were alerted to his presence and he was quickly taken into custody. And as you saw in that photograph, a loaded pistol with a 50-round drum magazine attached was found in the vehicle. Now, Kenneth Jones faces several charges. Police did not release the juvenile's name or the charges against him. And Norwalk detectives are seeking the public's assistance in identifying a shoplifting suspect. Now, that male was involved in a theft at the Marshalls on Westport Avenue. Now, when confronted by loss prevention at the time, he allegedly pulled out a pair of scissors and threatened that employee. The male then fled the store and ran eastbound on Westport Avenue, possibly entering a white van. Now, anyone with information is asked to contact detectives at 203-854-3034. And a rash of car-related thefts and burglaries over the past weekend has prompted Wilton Police Chief John Lynch to call on the public to keep eyes and ears open for all strange activity in their driveways. Now, the crimes are possibly related, and police need to have more information about the strangers who are entering those driveways, not just the reports of the items or cars that are taken. Now, Wilton Police are investigating the recovery of a stolen car found parked in the middle of Rivergate Woods. This was on May 29th at 8:15 in the morning. That gray Mazda 6 was reported stolen from Middlefield overnight by state police. Now, at the same time, a Ford Fusion was stolen from a driveway around 10:30 a.m. on Rivergate Drive. Police said the car was later found in Norwalk. Now, in an apparently unrelated case, an unlocked motor vehicle was entered June 1st between 5 and 6 p.m. and a Segway scooter valued at $500 was taken. There's more details on that story at wiltonbulletin.com. And Reading voters once again rejected the proposed 2018-2019 town budget at Tuesday's referendum. Now this time by just 4 votes. Now at the first budget vote back on May 8th, the town budget failed by 522 votes. Now unofficial totals vote that 1,184 voted yes to the town budget, while 1,188 voted no. Now the school's budget, however, did pass. Easton shares the Region 9 district with the town of Reading, and with the Easton and Reading votes combined, question 2 on that school budget passed. Easton voters had previously approved their town budget back on May 8th. There's more on that story at aspetuck.news. But all right, taking a turn now, we're going to get a look at your forecast with Frank Granito. Frank.
All right, thank you, Kate. A little cooler out today with temperatures sitting in the high 60s. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds throughout the afternoon, partly cloudy skies overnight, and a low of 53. Partly sunny skies tomorrow, a high around 70 degrees, and we'll see much of the same overnight, a low 56 with a little bit of cloud cover as well. Warmer on Friday, temperatures reaching up towards 80 degrees with humidity on the rise. A mix of sun and clouds again, but we're really keeping an eye out on the pollen count the next few days. Allergies are certainly going to be getting the best of us with an air quality alert in effect for the next 48 hours or so. That's going to do it for this weather update. Let's send it back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. And we're going to step out for a break. Come back. Donald Eng will take a look back on this day in history. We have more local news and your Nutmeg Sports update after this.
Want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Our Ram trucks get the job done with unparalleled style and performance. Call, click, or stop in to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck that you've been looking for. Family owned and operated for over 50 years. Save thousands right now at the Jeep Celebration event and Chrysler Pacifica Incredible Sales event. Now through June 30th.
Winter's finally in the rearview mirror, and the Dock Shop is ready to help you usher in our favorite season, summer. We've got new offerings in our usual products: clothing, jewelry, home decor, fishing tackles, and boating supplies. And now the Dock Shop does in-house laser engraving. You can add a name, a boat name, latitude, longitude, an image to drinkware, serving platters, boards, or decorative accessories. No minimum, fast turnaround. Stop in today and start your summer. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
If you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Baystar and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866. If you've ever thought about...
Welcome back to this June 6th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and before we get back to your local news, it's time to take a look back on this day in history with Donald Eng. Don.
Well, Kate, it's June 6th, one of those red letter dates in American history. First, though, we're going to go back to 1892. The Chicago Elevated Railroad System, the L, begins operation on tracks that are actually still in use. Believe it or not, the Chicago L is the second largest mass transit system in the country. It carries about 600,000 riders every day over about 102 miles of track. Speaking of non-mass transit, 1933, the first drive-in theater opens in Camden, New Jersey, with space for about 375 cars. The individual window-hanging speakers that you remember, well, those weren't invented for another few years, so the theater simply had large projection speakers behind the screen, which made neighbors very happy, I'm sure, during those 11:30 p.m. Triple features. The first film shown at a drive-in was a British comedy called Wives Beware. Now, of course, we go to 1944. The Battle of Normandy begins. That is D-Day, or Operation Overlord, commences with the landings of 156,000 Allied troops on the Normandy beaches. Now, Omaha Beach is the best known in the U.S. That photo is actually 22-year-old British soldier Emmeline John stepping onto Juno Beach. That's that photo, by the way, really is the British equivalent of the Iwo Jima flag raising in the U.S. Now, John was wounded 2 months later, survived the war, spent the next 37 years working as a machinist. I use that picture because the first time Emmeline John saw that photo of himself, was the 50th anniversary of the battle when it led the news reports. A bit of a surprise there for Emil and John. Finally, now we go back 100 years before D-Day for this.
For himself and for his spiritual health.
On June 6, 1844, Williams gathered a group of young men for prayer and Bible study in a room above the shop where he worked. With that, the YMCA was born.
It's a meeting group that allows young men to come together and celebrate and practice a version of Christianity that they thought was important.
George Williams' idea caught on quickly. Within a year, the Y was offering public lectures and hosting Sunday afternoon tea gatherings for new recruits.
It tried to provide a wholesome environment so that these young men who were now removed from their families and from the churches would not end up in taverns or in houses of ill repute.
Yes, the Young Men's Christian Association, YMCA, founded in London on this date, 1844. It quickly grew into teaching a variety of health topics, including physical fitness, which is, of course, what it is best known for today. YMCAs remain religiously affiliated, though that how much that is emphasized does vary from location to location. That is your look back in history for today, June 6th. I'm Don Ling.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, the Stratford Zoning Commission has approved a one-year moratorium on methadone clinics in Stratford that will last through June 6, 2019. Now, the commission originally considered passing a 2-year moratorium as the current moratorium was set to expire. No members of the public spoke on that proposed new moratorium during a public hearing on May 30th. Now, the Planning Commission had recommended a 6-month methadone clinic moratorium and requested a joint meeting with the Zoning Commission and community leaders to work on establishing permanent guidelines. Well, a methadone clinic dispenses methadone legally as treatment for people addicted to opioids such as heroin and oxycodone, which can be prescribed by a doctor but is often abused. Now, there's more on that moratorium at StratfordStar.com. And in Darien, a resident of Avalon apartment complex was arrested on suspicion of drunk driving after allegedly striking a retaining wall at the complex on June 3rd. Now, officers responded to the scene on a report of a single car accident at 5:10 p.m. A passenger of that vehicle was transported to Stanford Hospital for injuries sustained in that crash. The driver was identified as 47-year-old Andrew Lester. Now, Lester declined medical attention, but officers say they detected the odor of alcohol on him. Officers said Lester was slurring his speech and was struggling to maintain his balance. Lester allegedly told police he was cut off by another vehicle while turning left into Avalon from Hollow Tree Road. He was asked to submit to a field sobriety test but refused to comply. Police say based on the evidence at the scene, they arrested Lester for driving under the influence of alcohol. They say he refused to take a breath test at the police department and was released after posting a $100 bond. He's scheduled to appear in court on June 13th. And New Canaan's Grace Farms Foundation and Jane Doe No More will host More Than Me Too, a panel discussion on sexual assault and surviving trauma. This will be on Friday, June 15th. Now, the event will feature 2 empowering guest panelists, Donna Paloma, a survivor of sexual assault and president and founder of Jane Doe No More, and Dylan Farrow, who will speak about the 1993 investigation of her sexual assault allegations against her adoptive father, actor and director Woody Allen. Now, a panel discussion will be moderated by Rob Katabi, the Foundation's Director of Safety and Justice Initiative Advisor and a former federal agent who has investigated a variety of federal criminal violations. Now, the event is June 15th from 7:30 to 9 at Grace Farms. Attendance is free and open to the public, but registration is required. You can find out more at gracefarms.org. And in other news, the Ridgefield Volunteer Fire Department will be hosting its carnival after all. Now, after some speculation that the annual fair would be canceled this year due to the late school calendar, Deputy Chief Tim Pambianchi announced on Tuesday, June 5th, that the RVFD has found a new location. Now, the carnival is happening, Pambianchi said, and it's taking place at 901 Ethan Allen Highway. Now, that location is the former PerkinElmer headquarters on Route 7. Pambianchi did not specify where exactly on the campus the carnival would be held, but the commercial facility does host several large parking lots. He added that the Ridgefield Volunteer Fire Department is still working on specific dates and times for this year's carnival. Now, in the past, that festival was held during the final weekend of June at East Ridge Middle School, but because Ridgefield schools will be in session until June 29th this year, East Ridge could not host that carnival in its parking lot. The event used to be held on the school's athletics field, but was moved to the parking lot so those fields wouldn't be damaged. More on that story at the ridgefieldpress.com. And the Darien police boat is set to begin its third summer of patrol in the Long Island Sound. Now that boat will be manned by Officer Derek Mulcahy, a member of the Marine Division at the Darien Police Department, along with Officer Mauricio Virgil. Now the boat's top speed is 50 knots, that's 60 miles per hour, and it was built in Washington State by the Secure All-Around Flotation-Equipped Boats International. Now as a test for the boat's speed, Mulcahy said that it took only 7 minutes to get from Long Island to Darien coast. Now that video you were seeing was captured by some high school interns with the Darien Times. You can get more on that story now at DarienTimes.com. But all right, we're going to throw it over to Frank Granito now for your Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank. All
right, Kate, we're going to stay in Darien to start in a big upset in girls lacrosse last night for the first time in 107 games versus Class L opponents. The Darien Blue Wave have been defeated. 12-11 the final as their rival New Canaan gets the best and will advance on to their first ever Class L championship game. The Rams had a 7-3 lead at the half. Darien was able to cut into the deficit multiple times before McKenna Harden would score the eventual game-winning goal. And for the first time in 9 tries, the Rams have knocked off their rival, the Blue Wave. Well, who will they be facing in that championship game? It'll be a fellow FCIAC opponent as Ridgefield took down number 2 Cheshire. Caroline Colonel scoring 1 minute and 1 second into the first overtime as they go on to defeat Cheshire 14-13, taking down the number 2 seed. When the Rams and Tigers met in the regular season, it was a 7-6 New Canaan victory, as now both schools will be playing for their first ever Class L championship game. More good news for New Canaan last night as they collected another state championship. It was girls golf this time in a tight contest that required more than just 18 holes. Both New Canaan and Fairfield Ward shooting a state record score of 327 held in the tournament at Toshua Knolls. They would require a 3-hole playoff. The Rams shooting 54, ousting the Mustangs 55. It is the second consecutive state title for New Canaan in girls golf. Boys lacrosse semifinals to take place tonight at 5 o'clock. It'll be New Canaan and Darien, and then you'll see Ridgefield and Glastonbury in the nightcap. Kevin Coleman and I will get you ready for that on Nutmeg Sports this afternoon. For now, though, we go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. And we're going to step out for a break, come back, and recap some of the top stories we're following today after this.
Voted Best Gourmet to Go in Fairfield County, Palmer's extensive menu offers everything you'll need to make your next event easy and delicious. Whether you're hosting a small get-together or planning a large celebration, they've got you covered breakfast through dessert. Order online at palmersdarien.com or call 203-655-2077.
Want to free up backyard space, or are you just sick of looking at your deteriorating pool? Call Gorilla Pool Removal today, the in-ground pool fill-in experts. Pay a fraction of the cost and pool remodel by filling it in with our experienced crew. Available 7 days a week by call or text. Find out more at GrilloPoolRemoval.com.
Welcome back to this Wednesday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today. Hearst, Connecticut media reports that a 46-year-old woman was killed in a crash on the Merritt Parkway in Norwalk Tuesday night. State police say that driver Hong Ying Tian of Avon was ejected from her 2015 Volkswagen Passat. Troopers say Tian was traveling at a high rate of speed before that crash. Now, this happened just before 10 p.m. near southbound exit 40B in Norwalk. 2 other vehicles were struck by flying debris from that crash. Now, in front of Tian's vehicle was a 2012 Infiniti driven by 21-year-old Tyler Batala of Bedford, New York. Now, the force of the impact dislodged the Passat's engine, causing it to catch fire. Batala's Infiniti was struck by debris from the accident and sustained severe damage, needing to be towed. Batala, however, escaped injury. Now, another vehicle driven by 44-year-old Ryan Pila of New York City traveling northbound was also hit by flying debris, causing some minor damage, but no injuries to anyone in that vehicle. And in other news, Stamford police are looking for help identifying a voyeurism suspect. Now, they released surveillance video of that man. This happened back on May 9th at 2:20 in the afternoon. Police say a Hispanic man used a phone to take photos under the dress of a female while both were shopping at Modell Sporting Goods on Summer Street in the Ridgeway Shopping Center. Now, if you recognize the suspect, you're asked to please contact Stamford Police at 203-977-4417. And a man and a juvenile were arrested on weapons charges in Waterbury following a pursuit by Newtown and Bridgeport police. Now, on June 4th at 6:45 in the evening, state troopers were notified that Bridgeport police and Newtown police were in pursuit of a white 2014 Honda Accord. Now, police lost sight of the Accord in Newtown. At approximately 7:20 p.m., that Honda Accord was located by troopers on I-84 eastbound. The operator of that Honda engaged troopers in pursuit near exit 17 before entering Route 8 South in Waterbury. State troopers say they lost sight of that Honda at the Route 8 junction until it crashed on Charles Street off of Route 8 southbound exit 30. Now, the vehicle occupants fled prior to state police arrival, but a short time later, those 2 suspects were located, thanks to state police, Waterbury police, and a state police canine ale. Now, one suspect, later identified as Kenneth Jones, ran to a neighboring home to evade police. Jones kicked in the door there, allegedly ran inside and attempted to hide from police while people were inside the home. Now, police were alerted to his presence and he was taken into custody. A loaded pistol with a 50-round drum magazine was located inside that car. Now, Kenneth Jones faces several charges. Police did not release the juvenile's name or the charges against him. And Norwalk detectives are seeking the public's assistance with identifying a shoplifting suspect. Now, the male was involved in a theft at the Marshalls on Westport Avenue. He was confronted by loss prevention, police say, and allegedly pulled out a pair of scissors and threatened that employee. Now, the male then fled the store and ran eastbound on Westport Avenue, possibly entering a white van. Now, anyone with information is asked to contact Norwalk detectives at 203-854-3034. And a rash of car-related crimes, thefts, and burglaries over the past week have prompted Wilton Police Chief John Lynch to call on the public to keep their eyes and ears open for all strange activity in driveways. Now, the crimes are possibly related, and police need to have more information about these strangers entering people's driveways, not just reports of the items or cars taken. Now, police are investigating the recovery of a stolen car found parked in the middle of Rivergate Woods on May 29th at 8:15 in the morning. That gray Mazda 6 was reported stolen from Middlefield overnight by state police. Now, at the same time, a Ford Fusion was stolen from a driveway around 10:30 in the morning on Rivergate Drive. Police said that car was later found in Norwalk. In an apparently unrelated case, an unlocked motor vehicle was entered June 1st between 5 and 6 p.m. and a Segway scooter valued at $500 was taken. There's more on that story at wiltonbulletin.com. But let's get one final look at your forecast now with Frank Granito. Frank.
All right, thank you, Kate. Again, we're looking at temperatures around 68 degrees as your high today. A mix of sun and clouds through the afternoon. Partly cloudy overnight and a low of 53. A little bit warmer tomorrow with temperatures up into the 70s. Again, partly cloudy skies throughout the day. Should start to clear out a little bit before Friday, but temperatures will be on the rise. A little more humid as we get closer to 80 degrees, and we're keeping an eye out on the pollen count for the next few days with an air quality alert in effect for the next 48 hours. That's going to do it for this weather update. We're back at 2 o'clock getting you ready for tonight's state semifinals in boys lacrosse, baseball as well. Plenty going on. Kevin and I will have Nutmeg Sports for you, but for now, we go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. And we are going to wrap things up here on your coffee break, but coming up at 12:30, we have your CT Pulse. We're talking with Andy Friedland of the Anti-Defamation League about some anti-Semitic chants made last week at a lacrosse game. That coming up at 12:30, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11 with the latest local news and more. Have a great great day.